you go out for a bike ride. You want to, the ABC stands for, the A is air, so you want to look at the air pressure in your tire, the PSI that we were just talking about. So you want to check your tire and make sure it's hard. And if you touch it and it's soft, or you notice that you have a flat, you want to tend to that. Either change your tire or add, if you have a flat, you want to change the tube. If it's low, then you want to add air and get it to the PSI that it's supposed to be at. Does this move?
What's up?
Does this move?
The whole stand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you turn it this way?
Sure.
Can you see?
Yes.
Okay. So you want to check, the A is for air, so you want to check the air pressure in your tires. So you want to feel both the front and the back tire, and if you notice that it's low, then you want to add air. If you notice that it's a flat, then you want to replace your tire and find out where the debris is, where you ran over, and make sure it's not still in your tire. The B is for brakes. So you want to check your brakes to make sure you can stop. Because it's very important. You want to make sure that you have at least, the brakes have brake pads on them, and you want to make sure you have at least 1/4 of an inch of brake pads on your brakes. If it's really low, or if it's less than 1/4 of an inch, you want to replace those brakes, replace the brake pads. You can take to a bike shop like the BikeStation here, or to Jack's or Jones or Performance or any other bike shop, and get them replaced, because you want to be able to stop at all times. That's very critical. You don't want that. And then also too, for your brakes, there's a squeeze test that you want to do, and you want to make sure that you have like a thumb's width of space between your brake and the bar. So here, when I put my thumb here, you want to make sure you have some room, your thumb can fit in here. If it goes all the way down to the handlebars, then you're going to have an issue with stopping at some point. That means your brake, it needs to be adjusted, or your brakes might need to be replaced. So you want to make sure your thumb can fit between the brakes and the handlebars. There's a brake adjustment on your bike. Thank you very much. There's a brake adjustment. Mine are different than Renee's. You want to adjust, you can adjust your brakes if they're loose. If your handlebars go all the way, if your brakes go all the way down to your handlebars, you want to adjust your brake adjustment depending on where they are on your bike. Mine are on the side. Yeah, mine are on the side here. This will be easier. On my bike, they're right here. So there's two pieces to the brake adjustment here. So the top one, you want to turn it counterclockwise until you get to a point where you can fit your thumb between the brake and the handlebar. And once you do that, then the second piece, you want to turn it counterclockwise to lock it in place. And that's on the front and on the back brakes. Have you adjusted your brakes on your bike?
No.
So on my back brakes, it's here. So it's right above the brakes. So you would do the same thing. You want to turn it counterclockwise, the top piece, and the lower piece, you want to turn it clockwise to lock it into place. And these things are, let's see. All of these things, if you have any questions, you can, wherever you bought your bike from, or if you have a local bike shop, you can ask them about it also. So that's the A, is the air, B is the brakes. You want to make sure you can stop at all times. C would include, it's the chain, the cassette, and the crank. This area here. So basically C is all of this here. So you want to make sure your chain is clean, that it's not rusty, it doesn't have a bunch of debris on it. So if it's not, you want to, you can clean it with a terry cloth towel and soapy water. If it's rusty, you'll probably need a new chain, so you want to take it in and get your chain replaced. And you also want to make sure it's well oiled.
Okay.
So you want to make sure it's well oiled also, so that when you're riding, you're shifting, that it is going the way that it should. It is moving the way that it should. The crank here, this section here, you want to do a test where to see if you can move it, if it rocks, like if you try to move it from side to side, if there's any movement, you want to take that in, it needs to be adjusted, and it could be dangerous for you to ride on. So if, like, I've taken some spills on my bike, unfortunately. So if you have an accident, or if you're transporting your bike, and it's, if you're putting it in a car, it's getting bumped around, things can get moved around, and you want to make sure you check this, and if it is moving, you want to take it into the bike shop and have them adjust it for you. And, yeah, so you want to make sure everything is oiled here. You want to check your crank, make sure you check your chain. And then you also want to, so that's the ABC, and then you want to do a quick check. So for this bike, all the quick releases, so for the brakes here, this is open, this is closed. You want to make sure all of your quick releases are down. So they're on the tires, on the brakes, on the front and the back, you want to make sure it's down. On the seat, some bikes have a quick release on the seat. I think the ones that you'll be riding today, it has it on, it's a quick release on the seat. This one doesn't. And you want to look over your bike and make sure everything on the tires, there's a quick release here. You want to make sure those are pointing inward toward the center of the bike, the front, and the back and the front. So you want to make sure they're pointing in and not out, because if you're riding along, somebody rides alongside you and bumps into you, they could get injured because your quick release is pointing out, then get stuck. Like if you're doing a group ride and it's a bunch of people riding together, you can be close, and if you have an accident and bump up against each other, you can get injured from that. And so you want to make sure they're pointed inward and not out. So you want to make sure all those things are down, they're closed here, they're down, and then they're pointing inward. And then after you do all that, you're ready to go out for a trial ride. So you want to take a short trip, like half a block. Check your seat, make sure your seat feels good, make sure the bike feels good, make sure your brakes actually work. You want to stop, use your front brake, use your back brake, and make sure that you're stopping properly. Make sure your tires feel right, that maybe you put air in the tire and you actually do have a hole in the tube, but you don't notice it, you won't see it until you actually get on the bike and ride it. So you want to make sure that everything is good to go. So that is the ABC quick check for your bike, and that was very quick. And that information is in your handout also.